Romania is a country with many water resources, but in recent years, in the context of climate change, it is facing a desertification trend that affects both agriculture and households. What are the directions Romania needs to take to combat water scarcity, considering that a reduction in water scarcity by 2030 appears unlikely, according to an analysis published in January by the European Environment Agency?
Yeah. The water scarcity is something that faces all Europe, in fact. In fact, 30% of all Europe Union's land is every year faced with scarcity. And we, in Europe, we have droughts all over Europe. Of course, some parts of Europe is more in danger. For example, Spain has like 75% desertification risk in the next years. But also other parts of Europe is so, and we also know that droughts and floods will be coming more often and will be more severe. So we all need to do our part. And I will say the water resilience strategy that we put forward for a couple of weeks ago is one answer to where we need to go. And one thing is, of course, that we need to work on exactly how we use the water more efficiently. And here we say that one goal that we have is that we all need to use the water more efficient, 10% more efficiently until 2030. And exactly how Romania will do that, that is that's a question for Romania, because all the member states have different challenges, and it's not one size fits all. So I think one thing, for me, it's important that we all take part of this. We all be aware of the situation that we cannot take water for granted no more.
Okay. According to the European Water Resilience Strategy, only 57% of Romania's population is connected to the public water supply system, the lowest in the EU. Only 15% of Romania's urban wastewater is treated in line with EU requirements, and 23% of treated water is lost before it reaches households due to outdated or inefficient infrastructure. What are your recommendations to improve this situation?
This is a serious situation. We cannot take water for granted, and that means that we need to tackle the fact that water leakages is one big problem for Europe. In a whole in Europe, it's 30% leakages. There are places like Romania that have huge challenges when it comes to leakages, like over 50% and over 80% in some parts. This we need to tackle, this we need to invest in, because there are possibilities here. Both there are techniques, using AI, using digitalization. We have good example from both Romania and also from your neighbor countries, Bulgaria, exactly. But that needs to do the investment, and of course that is, again, I think it's important to make awareness about what we see, that we have these big leakages, because we all understand that we need water. Water is our life. But then we cannot waste water on the way into the consumer. So this is one thing that you can use the new techniques, innovation, but also the funding as such. But we all also need to understand that we also need to do these investments. Okay.
The EU has sent civil protection experts to support Romania in its recovery efforts following the floods at Pride salt mine, one of the biggest salt mines in Europe and a major tourist attraction. From your point of view, how should the situation at Pride have been managed to prevent this disaster?
That I don't really know exactly on how, but I mean, it shows again how urgent it is to invest in nature, invest in flood protection, invest in the situation that water is, because it shows that when something happens, this really serious bad thing has happened, of course it affects not only people around exactly that, but also downstreams. One thing that we do approach also in the strategy is flood prevention and early monitoring, early detection, how you can monitor floods prevention, so to say. That is one thing. And again, here Romania has used I don't remember exactly what it's called now, but anyway, getting help from other countries, Germany, Hungary and others, to evaluate the situation and how can we move forward from now and how can we reduce the damage that has already been said. So I mean, I would say that this is also, it shows that it's important to invest in water, but it also shows that the cost of doing nothing, if we don't do the next step in climate adaptation and mitigation, I think then we understand that it will cost even more. So I mean, for me, it's really sad and bad, of course, but we need to also do the best of the situation now.
The former Energy Minister Sebastian Burtuja said this month that Romania has closed many of its coal-fired power plants, which has led to energy vulnerability, higher costs, but not a green and clean country, adding that the correct order of priorities is energy security, energy accessibility, and competitiveness, and only at the end, the energy transition or green energy. How do you comment on this order of priorities?
It's up to all member states to decide their own energy mix. That is nothing that the Commission tells, but of course, again, a little bit if I link it to water, we have decisions on how to use energy more efficiently. I think we also need to have the same discussion, and that is why we also put this target forward on 10% more efficiently use of water. I think we can learn from the experience we have when it comes to energy crisis, and also see that we need to do the same travel when it comes to water, because otherwise we will be in the same situation when it comes to water. So that is, I see a possibility to take some of the ideas from the energy sector that has been also being more efficiently.
Okay. A few days ago, the European Commission decided to issue a reasoned opinion to Romania for delays in relation to the sites of community importance that will become part of the enlarged EU Natura 2000 network to protect biodiversity in the EU. How do you comment on these delays?
We have agreements both on international level but in EU on high ambitions when it comes to biodiversity. We know that Europe have degraded when it comes to nature and environment. This is something that we need to take serious, because it's not only about nature, about our prosperity and competitiveness, it's about our resilience and security. And that is important for me, and that comes also when it comes to Romania, of course, and it's important to do the things that we agreed on and also implement the right things that we need to do. If you can
give me some advices for Romanian people to understand a little bit more about the water scarcity, why is this so important for every one of us?
The water cycle, I mean, that we are using the same water all over the globe, but that water cycle is broken. The same water cycle that you and I learned when we went to school. And that is really that is threatening all of us, because with that we see that we sometimes don't have enough water, which we all need, because if you don't have water, water is life. And if we know that the water cycle is broken, we need to see what can we do to repair it. And one of these things is how can we use the water that is scarce more efficiently. We all need to take a part in this. Me as a policymaker, industry, farmers, consumers, we all need to think about how we use the water. And I think that we know that sometimes, of course, there are too much water and sometimes too little water, but also that, of course, is different from different parts of Romania. I do understand that. But we all need to take part of this travel on how to repair the broken water cycle, but also see to it that water is future-proof, that also our children and grandchildren also have fresh and clean water.